We're now live on Facebook.
Hi, good morning, Facebook family. Good morning, Wake Up family. Good morning, good morning. So excited to be with you guys today. So glad to see your beautiful faces. Wake up, wake up. Maybe get some work in. Good morning. All right.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, John Carl. Good morning to our incredible administrative team. Good morning, Kenyofu. Thank you, Coach Shawnee, for inviting me to speak today. I'm so excited to be back in the Wake Up space.
Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings. Good morning. Good morning. Hi, good morning, Adam. Good morning, Stacy. Good morning, Afua. Good morning, Teresa. Good morning, Zakai.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Carmen. Hey, Mattia. Good morning. All right, everybody wake up. Good morning, good morning. Hope everyone is well rested and ready to have this conversation today. We're going to be talking about reparations, a healing journey. And we're going to do some work. So if you please grab a pen, paper, if you're in bed, you can still take your notes on your phone, but we will be working today. So wake up. Good morning, Facebook family. So good to see you all joining us as well. Really, really excited to be here today. All right. Who else we got up in the house? Stacy, haven't seen you for a while. Welcome. Oh, and I'm sorry, Abimbola. Good morning. Good morning, I missed you. All right. So we're gonna have a really great discussion. Again, just to reiterate, we're going to need pens, papers, your hearts, your minds, to put together just a really great and incredible thought process, community co-created process for today's session. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, Coach Cheryl. Good morning.
Grand Rising.
Grand Rising. So good to see everyone. Right. Again, Coach Cheryl, you just joined us. If you can grab, if you can, journal, paper, pen, pencil, whatever you can, some writing tools. We'll be using some writing tools today for today's session. This will be a workshop of some sort. And here we go.
Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. We're healing, we're dealing, we're growing. Together, together, releasing. We're teaching, we're moving. Together, together, we're learning, discerning, we're striving. Together, together, we're leading, connecting, transforming. Together, together.
Thank you. So again, good morning, everyone. My name is Catherine Mbali Green Johnson. So excited to be with you all today. We are going to walk in a journey for healing towards reparations. I've been talking about this on Wake Up for quite some time, and you guys are sort of my not guinea pigs, but my experimental process. I'm working on a community engagement and visioning processes that I'll be implementing across the country. And so Wake Up is really my tool. You guys have been the tool for me to really refine this project, and traveling to other communities across the country to really work on a reparations plan. And so this is a first attempt at a workshop envisioning session. So before we begin, I'm going to ask, and you can put it in the chat, if any of you have ever been to a community visioning session. Have you ever been a part of one? And you just put yes or no in the chat for me. And if you have been to one, you know, what was your experience like, and what did you walk away from? How did you walk away from it? Because I see no by Coach Cheryl. And any folks in? Okay, Carmen says yes. So Carmen, can you unmute yourself and tell us about your experience?
Yeah, well, yes, and can you hear me okay? Because I'm at the gym. Okay. Hi, good morning, everybody. I about 3 years ago, I was interning at an agency called Northern Manhattan Prenatal Partnership in Harlem. And they were working with Berkeley University in Oakland County. I think that's where they are. I'm not 100% sure. And they had this initiative called the Best Baby Zone. And what they did was just focus specifically on a zone and kind of like work out, like, what do we do from here? You know, with people from different sectors. So in this community planning event, it was just like all these different people coming together, and they like literally laid out like, I don't know if it was a chart paper just around the whole room, and everybody had their input. And it was so amazing to see, like, you know, even though there were different sectors, people had their own specific agenda, we all came together for this one zone, for this specific initiative. And it was just like visually seeing that, we did it visually. So it was like, wow, like this is what people are up to. And it was really just like, I want to do all my workshops, all my events like that.
Hey, thank you for that, Carmen. I'm telling you to wake up. You were already up in the gym, getting your work in. Thank you for that. Yes, community visioning sessions are just that. They're a way for communities to come together and come up with a plan. So my background is in community nonprofit development. I focus on the arts. I'm the executive director and founder of an organization called Arts East New York. And that's one of the things that I do, you know, we do throughout our work. I also am a consultant here in New Jersey, where I live, and I also do consultant work throughout the New York City area, NYC Tri-State area, helping communities, again, just come up with plans, come up with projects, but I use it through a community visioning lens. And so everything that we do should be a co-created process, and I really focus our efforts on the co-creative process. So we're going to do that today. Oh, and I see another comment in the chat. Stacy, she says that yes, she has attended one, not about reparations. I'm not going to read it. So Stacy, if you can come off mute and tell us what you shared in the chat, it would be great. And I'd love to hear your voice.
Sure. Good morning, Catherine. It's nice to see you.
Good to see you too. Well, hear you.
So several years ago, I was part of a community revitalization project in Southwest Brooklyn, and We held 3 of these visioning sessions in different parts of the community, and families came out to talk about, it was primarily focused on education, but it was really about what do you want to see your community look like, and what do you want the relationship with the schools in the community to be. And so all 3 nights were really dynamic. So many people showed up. Again, just like Carmen said, there was chart paper all around the room. People drew their ideal neighborhoods and what they wanted to see, like what kinds of stores, what kinds of activity, and then they focused on what they wanted to see from the schools that they weren't seeing at that time. And it was really great. It was so eye-opening for me. I'd never been part of a process like that before.
Shay, thank you so much, Stacey. Yep, again, powerful process co-created by community. It's one thing to, have a plan handed to us, right? From the powers that be, right? Quote unquote, because we have the power. But there's another thing for community members to come together and come up with our own plans and present it to those who can enact them, right? And that's where the exchange of power should be. It is the African tradition to work in community and not have things just sort of land in our laps. And so it is something that we really need to get back to here in this country. Collaboration, cooperatives, et cetera, et cetera. And so before I go any further, I just wanted to at least define what we're going to be doing today before we went into session. So like all sessions that I do, want to make sure that we take time to honor our ancestors by doing a libation. And so this morning we are going to, I don't have my water with me, so I am just going to ask that we all just sort of close our eyes. I'm sorry, I should have had this prepared. Close our eyes, and we're going to just bring in the energy of our ancestors, all right? We're going to just focus on them and their veracity, their resilience, all that they have taught us, all that they have imparted on us, all that they have suffered through, accomplished in order for us to be here today. Just going to take a minute to just think on them, those that you may know and are related to, those who you may not know, but have inspired your life and your work. So just take a minute and just bring them into the space. I want to invite them in because they have a seat at the table as well. And just breathe in. Let them just get comfortable in your space and in this virtual place that we're in these days. And we're going to ask that they bless us with the gifts and talents and skills and abilities to open our minds, open our hearts, to have dialogue today for this very important topic. And we ask the ancestors that we continue to stand on their shoulders, that we acknowledge them, that they are not forgotten, that the work and the lives that they live were not for naught, that their stories continue to live on through us, and that we will make our best efforts to use our gifts, talents, and abilities to continue to share their stories, that the hands that nurture the ground that we walk on, that they are compensated, that they are in a state of repair, that we focus our energies on a redress that acknowledges their work. And we're going to ask the ancestors that the Black skin, the story of Blackness in this country is no longer under attack. that we work together for our common good, that we can have conversation and dialogue that brings about change, that brings about cohesiveness, that brings about forward movement. In the name of the ancestors and all those that lead our lives and our different paths and journeys, we would say, Amen, Amen, and Ashe. Ashe. Thank you. And before we complete this libation, I'm just going to ask that you put the names of those that have influenced your life, those that have influenced your journeys, that you add them into the chat. I won't be able to read them all, but if you can add their names in the chat, that would be great, so we can acknowledge them by name and bring them into the space. So activate that chat, please, and admin, if you can assist me and let me know. Okay, great. I see some names. We have Jean Dorothy Hines. Thank you, Jacqueline. We have Nina. Thank you, Carmen. We have Janet. Thank you, Carmen. Candace, we have Enid Phillips. Thank you. All right, I'm going to bring in my dad, William Green. Let's see, Kenyofu, we have Uridine Bruce, John Lovell, Helen Jordan, Frank Jordan. Candace, thank you. Pauline Duet, I hope I pronounced it right. Jacqueline, we have Gilbert Roland Palmer. Medea, thank you for bringing in Geraldine. Welcome, 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 welcome. And if there's anyone in Facebook land that has shared, if admin can help to call those names as well. All right, thank you, Kenyofu. We have Irving Jordan, Ernest Williams, Virginia Level, Cecil Level, Abimbola. I should know your name. How to pronounce it by now. Jordine Berg, thank you. Welcome, Georgine. All right. I'll also call into the space my grandmother Catherine. Also call into the space. Thank you from Facebook, Wendy, bringing in Clyde and Unalia. Oh, that's beautiful. McLean, Medea, Melissa Ann. All right, welcome, welcome, welcome all of our ancestors. And so we are going to move forward. Keep activating the chat, welcome them in, let them come, have a seat, join us. It is important for them to be a part of this conversation. Also from Facebook, Teresa, Henry Pasquette, Ethel, and Walter Edwards. You guys are amazing. Keep it going, keep it going. And so I also wanted to open today with a song. I do not sing, so don't get excited. But I would like for us to feel the energy of the song. It is the Black National Anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing, just to activate us, to remind us today before we go into the activities, why we are here. And as you listen to the song, I would like for you to write the following prompt, right? And the following prompt would be, my healing journey is blank, right? So admin, I'm sorry for the extra work. Thank you, Kenyofu. So my healing journey is blank. And you can select the word from the song to fill in, and you can do a play on words if you like. But I will start to share that now.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. hope that the present has brought us, facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on until victory is won. Nkosi sikeleli Africa, malupakan Yesu ponduluayo, izwa imitandazo yetu. Nkosi sikelela tina lusapuluayo, woza moya, woza moya. Woza moya, woza moya, woza moya. Oh, yingwele usisikelela tina lusapuluayo.
All right.
Beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful. So as you can see, that was the daughter of ancestor Dick Gregory, who has done some incredible work for our community. And so I am going to ask for y'all to activate the chat and put in your sentence that, thank you. Oh, beautiful, Carmen. My healing process is sacred. My healing journey is like the rising sun. Candace, can you unmute yourself and talk to us about why you chose that those words and your healing journey?
Morning, Sister Coach Catherine. I chose those words because right now I'm in the process of flourishing and growing. And so I feel like it is rising. It is a moment in my life at 51 that I am flourishing and that it is rising. My healing process is better than it's ever been. There is a process and it is, in fact, increasing. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. How powerful. I love that we are doing our work, that we are working on our own healing, right? There are lots of folks that say we should be focused on our own healing. Reparations is, why is that necessary when we are, in this space and time? And so why? Right? Why? Let's focus on healing ourselves. Let's move on, etc., etc. So let's see. Teresa says, my healing journey is march on till victory is won. Go ahead, Teresa. And so we are going to explore why, the why. Why is this important? Why do we need to focus on reparations? What does that mean to us? What does reparations mean? And so we're going to discover that together. Sorry, 1 second. I am going to share my screen in just a minute. And I want you to, as you watch this quick video, very quick video, you are going to answer the questions that are on the screen. There are some prompted questions here. You can see them and you'll just journal them. If you can get to all 4 of the questions, great. If you can't, so don't worry about it if you stay focused on one and you get caught in the journey of, because the video is very passionate and very powerful. It is developed by the ACLU, created by the ACLU, just to give us a perspective on why, all right, reparations is necessary. And so, again, I will share my screen. All right. So that was a really quick video, and the questions that were on the slide, hope that you all were able to see and focus on, but I'll just put it out here in the, just speak it out live. So I'm gonna ask the question, why do we need reparations? And any one of you could raise your hand and dive into that question if you're feeling courageous. And this is also from your own personal, story. Why do you feel it's necessary for reparations? All right. Have any takers yet?
Lisa raised her hand.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. So Teresa, if you can unmute.
Yes, from looking at all the information that I've been getting lately and seeing, the like the terror that was brought upon us, we deserve the honor of getting back what was taken and stolen, and that was taken. Like I looked at the thing that happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma, but actually seeing it this week, just really took me to a whole nother level. Like there was a news article was saying that 3 white men, I think either 2 or 3 white men had gotten hurt, but they never ever discussed, the over 300 people that was killed and slaughtered. So it was like we're just denied of being a human. So we need to get our humanity back. That's what I feel like. They've taken our humanity. They've taken, who we are as a people, and so we deserve to have that back because we're human. We're people of love. We're people of power, and they have depowered us. And it's a constant, everyday thing. People depowering people of color of their humanity, and it's very challenging for me, especially dealing with everyday situations that I'm dealing with where I live at. It's a constant thing. It's not like your rights is being taken. Just a simple right of just being a human being is just taken. So we deserve to be human again, to be made that we matter and that we are honored because we have brought some beautiful gifts to this world and we're devalued even with our gifts that we brought. And I'm complete.
I say. You said a whole word, whole sermon right there. Thank you, Teresa. And we have some other comments in the chat. It says, reparations is necessary for the world to really begin to heal. I say. Sakai, can you say more about that? Can you unmute yourself?
Can't come on camera, but I can.
No problem. Thank you.
Wow, I've been looking at reparations for close to 30 years now. Became very active within Cobra in around the beginning of the millennium. So that's like 20 years. Prior to that, I was involved with a project where we took a monument out to the ocean to honor the ancestors that didn't make it through, which was a life-altering experience, which I'd love to talk about at some point, but it's much too much to go into detail about now. Every other people who have been harmed have received some form of reparations, except those of African descent. Everyone. And there are people who have been harmed and who receive reparations in some form or another every year, like repeatedly. They're continuing to be repaired, and we still are not. And we're the foundation. So without our healing, the world will never be whole.
That's right. Thank you. Thank you for that. It brings me to the thought process that you ever someone has ever done something, to you, right? And just have walked around like this, like they've done nothing, right? There's no acknowledgement, there's, no apology, there's just, but you're left, right, with this heaviness, you're left with this trauma, you're left with this, this act in your head. I know for me, and I'll speak specifically in my I statement, just not having the ability to really explore and unpack what has been done to me, because the person hasn't even acknowledged it. So I start to feel crazy. I start to feel like, wait, did I make it up? I start to feel like it was my fault. I start to really think around like maybe I did something wrong. There was something about what I said, war did, that just caused this to happen. And when the person does acknowledge it, finally, and does apologize and put in a plan to repair what has been done, it's like, I don't know, it's like such a huge weight that is that's just sort of just let go, right? There's a huge weight that comes off of you, and just an acknowledgement, right, of you as a person and how your feelings and what you felt in that moment. There's a like, oh wait, I'm not crazy, right? Okay, I thought it did happen, and this person has acknowledged it. And so we can get caught in those sort of feelings when this, like you said, Z, when you said every other group has been atoned, right? There are other groups that have been, the Jewish community has been, has received a reparation. The Japanese community has received reparation, an acknowledgement of the harm that has been done. But for the African American, we are told, get over it. It's too long. It's not our fault. Like, what is, you have all of these opportunities now, and you're playing basketball, you got all this stuff, and we know these things not to be true, right? So how do we begin a path to heal? Yes, responsibility is on us. So in a case, again, I'll put myself, and you all can share your experience as well. In a case of where I was sexually assaulted when I was a teenager, that person who committed the assault I was not able to prosecute or bring charges against. And I honestly couldn't even find my voice to figure out a way to speak on it. He was a police officer, and I was this young girl, and how can I, right, bring a case to speak against this person who's done this act towards me? But now here, years later, fast forward, and at the age of 44, I'm able to speak on it, right? I found my voice. I'm able to, and if I were able to find the gentleman, find him, I would definitely, bring charges about, but I found my legs, I found my confidence. I know I'm not crazy. And so I will have the ability to do so. And I'd like for you all to share, if someone can share an experience similar to this. Yes, thank you, Candace. The argument is a legal one. Slavery was legal. Okay, got you. It was not illegal, so it's argued no legal case exists for reparations for slavery. Yes, that is true, and but there are a lot of things here that we can unpack and discuss as well, right? Yes, it is a moral violation, absolutely. However, there are lots of things that are legal, and there are lots of things that have been done in the legal in the legal vein that are human rights violations that need to be atoned for. So that's cases throughout history. So let's just get an example of someone who can share, if you can share with us a time in which you may have been, wronged, etc., and there was an apology or not an apology given to you. And so anyone raise their hand? Oh, Jacqueline, great. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. If you can unmute yourself Thank you, Sophia.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, my experience was similar to yours, only that mine was a family member. I was sexually molested by my stepfather for many years. And I did call myself, I remember the day he passed away, or that I got the news that he passed away. I actually had a little party. And I said, you know what? I saw this film. I can't remember what it was. And it was probably Issa Rae or something like that. And she was talking about her molester. And she actually went to his grave and pissed on it. Probably did a little more than that. But I felt like that's what I needed to do. I still held my mother accountable because I felt that she had knowledge of what was going on. And it is very disturbing for somebody to say, well, if that happened to you, I'm sorry, because that's not really an apology. And, you know, I still feel as though she needs to apologize, but that might not ever happen. The fact that she stopped talking about this man like he was some gift from God is apology for me. In terms of reparations, I do believe that we are owed reparations, even though slavery may have been legal. There have been many illegal acts that came out of that, and we are still not out of slavery, actually. So even with the 13th Amendment, they basically put that back on us again. So in our institutions, in our schools, in the economic situation in this country, there can be no resolution unless they resolve that issue with us. And so all of this strife and ongoing struggle that we see will continue unless that is addressed. And that is not something that is because Black people will create it. It's because it's spiritually immoral, and that is going to have to be resolved. Otherwise, we're going to keep going around in these circles that we're going around in. So with that, I am complete.
Hey, again, y'all doing this work this morning. Yes. I personally also do not understand and see a future for the country to flourish, this American experiment to continue without the acknowledgement, without a redress for the African American and so many egregious acts that have been committed against us. You're right, it's not just slavery, it continued on, and as you can see in the video, you know, Jim Crow and you know, up till today with police brutality. So there's several precedents to point towards. And so moving on, I want to really get to some of the definitions just to really unpack it, and then we can move from here. I'm going to share my screen again. Right, so what is reparations? So I'll read this out. This is defining reparations from the Movement for Black Lives. You can find it on their website. And the artist that you see on the side here is one of the artists I represent, Mr. Bernard Jackson out of South Carolina. He's creating an image of the soldiers who fought against the Confederacy during the Civil War. And for the Movement for Black Lives, it's a call for reparations to all African descended people in the United States for harms flowing from the badges and incidents of slavery, the ways in which slavery in the US marked all Black people. This includes racial terror, state sanctioned segregation, and theft and destruction of Black people's lands, property, businesses, and homes in the Jim Crow era and beyond, housing discrimination and redlining, and the ongoing effects of racial segregation, discrimination, and structural exclusion, which represent ongoing impacts and harms of slavery that have not yet ceased or been remedied. And so, just moving to our next slide. How do I know if reparations, if it's reparations and not something else? So as we move on to our activity for today, just want to make sure that we are on the same page about what it is, right? So reparation includes an official acknowledgement and apology for harm, public education or memorial about the harm, and compensation to a specific defined group of individuals harmed by a violation, including descendants, as well as family and community members of individuals directly targeted for harm who were adversely affected, and action to restore individuals harmed to the position they were in before the initial harm occurred, and action to stop the systems, institutions, and practices causing the harm, and changes to laws, institutions, and systems aimed at ensuring that harm will not happen again. All right, let's stop here and let's talk about this. And so is there anything that comes up for you in the definition and what reparations means? Are there any questions, anything that's on your hearts? And you can please raise your hands or share in the chat even. And admin, you may have to help me because I can't see everyone.
All right, hands are not raised yet. And
Awesome.
a comment from directly behind the slide from Zakia is that she's thanking you. That was powerful. There have
Awesome.
not been any comments added.
Awesome.
Teresa raised her hand.
Okay.
And I invite others to raise their hand and jump in with the question.
Awesome. Teresa, you had a question?
Yes, the thing that's been bothering me a lot lately is how when the Asian people just recently got approved, to get a law put in, that really bothered me because I was like, we've been being slaughtered and killed for years and nothing like that has ever happened. And I was just wondering, like, how could they put in a law so quick when this has been happening to us for hundreds of years, and it's like, I don't understand the mentality. And it was like, it's like that's all you hear now about how Asian people are being attacked, but we're being attacked constantly on a daily basis, and we're never ever acknowledge it. So I just don't understand that mentality. And so that bothers me. It really has been bothering me a lot lately. It makes me very angry.
Thank you for sharing that. And I want to definitely, acknowledge that the Asian community has received this policy in place, and I applaud their efforts, absolutely, that they were able to enact this in such a swift way. And I think it's for us to also look to how we can collectively unify our voices and act in the same ways, so we can move policy as fast as their community has. Now, for me, it's really accountability, because we do have quite a few policymakers, elected officials in office currently, that can push these things forward. So it's holding those that we put in office accountable. It's also collectively working collectively with them to make sure that what we want, what we need, what's helpful for our community is enacted and swiftly. So that needs to happen. I also want to point out that I've heard this this sort of thing before, and it goes back to this concept, and I'm sure we all have heard about it, called crabs in a barrel, right? This whole concept of crabs in a barrel, working it, just pulling each other down. We can't get anywhere because we're pulling each other down constantly. And I want to dispute this today. Before we go into activity. Crabs in a barrel, that's not the crab's natural habitat, right? Crabs are supposed to be in the waters, in the oceans, free, etc., etc. How did it get in the barrel? Where did the barrel come from? And so we need to start looking at the systems that are put in place to create the conditions that we are in as a people, and start to work together to dismantle them. And so in this in making that comment, Teresa, is right on point. Like, when do we start to just dismantle and disrupt systems? And so that's what the reparations movement is about. It is not about, continuous, these, slow progress. Policy, yes, great. But right, we want to make sure that all of the above, everything that was listed, is also addressed. So the slow movement, no longer. It needs to be a loud and audacious process in order for us to move forward. Awesome. And thank you for sharing, Terry. She says many of our policymakers do not want to rock the boat. Yes, and have become comfortable. We need to collectively call them to action. Absolutely. I truly believe this. I'm not a big fan of politics. I know it's a fan of us, because they need us and our dollars and attention to keep the system going. But there are so many agreements that they make and get comfortable in these positions where our goals, we move further and further away from our goals. However, not just holding them accountable, but what are we doing? What are we doing? How are we holding ourselves accountable to pushing them forward? How are we supporting them and pushing and helping to support and remind them of why they're in that office? And so that's where a collective community engagement processes come together like this. And I will go into, it is 7:47, so I'm going to move swiftly. We're going to go into our next slide, and we're going to talk about what the plan is from the lens of from NARC, the National African American Reparations Commission. Right. Sorry, I keep going out of presentation mode. All right, so here's a 10-point plan by NARC. And as Kaya mentioned earlier, Cobra has also just done incredible work. You can look up both organizations throughout the years on reparations. So the 10-point plan that has collectively been co-created is one, an apology and a Ma'afa Institute, which includes a formal apology and an establishment of an African Holocaust Ma'afa Institute. Number two, reparation, the right of reparation and creation of an African knowledge program. Land, the right to land for social and economic impact, funds, health and wellness, education, housing and wealth generation, info and communication structure, sacred rights and monuments, and the criminal justice system. And you can take a screenshot of this. You can go to their website and do your own research. But this is a 10-point plan created by NARC, again, the National African American Reparations Committee. And I'm going to move on to what we are going to discuss today. So for today's session, and we're going to our workshop this, we're really going to focus on resources for the health, wellness, and healing of Black families and communities. So this is how it's laid out in NARC on the website. And you can again take a screenshot. You can save this. I also have a resource list that will be shared after today's session, so you can go into your own research. But things like funds for the establishment of a regional system of Black controlled health and wellness centers, funds to strengthen existing hospitals and medical centers and serving Black communities, funds to strengthen institutions like Meharry Medical College, and scholarships with students interested in attending these institutions, and fully operational and institutionalize the use of emancipation healing circles and methodology to address overcome the damages of post-traumatic slavery syndrome. So again, I'm abbreviating what we're going to discuss today. I'm going to stop the screen now so that I can answer questions. I see a question in the audience. So, and Z, is it okay if I call you Z? You can unmute yourself and ask your question. Or make your comment.
That's why I put it there.
Okay.
Sorry. um, uh, one of the biggest challenges that we face is our divisiveness. I submit that the Asians were able to get that because they are united, even if they don't like each other. You'll never know because they are united no matter what. And I also submit that our divisiveness is a byproduct of enslavement. So it was built into the system for us to never really heal because they were methodical in the way they pitted us against each other for our own survival, and the way they tore our families apart. It's all part of the process that started a long time ago when this whole enslavement thought came about. It was all built in. So it's a battle that we have to fight, face within our own communities and ourselves. It's a long road, but we got to start and keep pushing forward. We can't give up. We can never give up. We've got to keep pushing until we get the result we deserve.
I say thank you for that reminder. It's so good to remind ourselves, every once in a while, like, these things are not just happen, right? We as Africans, we're a tribal people. Yes, there were, groups who, fought and, pre, this atrocity. But this was not it, right? This is an unnatural process of pitting people against one another, and all sort of conditioning to make sure that to ensure that they would continue to profit off of our demise. So there's a whole nother. There's another comment. I'm sorry. There's another hand raised from Mama Sa who speaks. If you can go ahead and unmute yourself, and then we're going to move into our activity.
Great rising, everyone. Thank you so much for this conversation, Sister Mama Catherine. I have, my main point here is that reparations is, the way I look at reparations is that we need to have our finger on the pulse everywhere. So reparations is another pulse. It's another pulse. Everything needs to be put into law. But it's another pulse, and it's the thing for me is that while we're doing the work, that we actually keep ourselves clear in terms of knowing that we're not the enemy. Like I see so many people that are in the work, but their health is so bad, their anger is so bad, their rage is so bad that really they're putting forth so much anger and stuff. Like they're stuck in the anger, and it's hard to get the work done. Yes, that's my point. My point is we need our finger on the pulse everywhere, and this is one of them. And then the other point for me is that we have always been together. It's not that when we look at the concept of being divided, that's really looking at it from the point of view of how they want us to look at it. Yes, they definitely are trying to keep us apart. But to me, we have to know that just like they only give us one view of the vaccination. Everybody go do it, but they don't say they don't give us other views. So we think that's the only view. Yeah, so imagine if they keep saying, Blacks are divided, we're killing people here and there. Yeah, but they're not saying all the white people that are killing each other. Like they're not saying all the great things that are happening in our community, not saying who all of our inventors are. So we have to know and believe that there are always other groups and other people that are like mine, that are other people that are striving for greatness. We have to know that they're there. We have to, because then otherwise we're a part of their plan. So know that there's always more greatness around. It's just not publicized. It's not televised. It's not videotized. It's not shown in that respect. So there's more greatness happening at all times than not. And I'm complete. Thank you so much, Catherine.
Thank you, Mama Who speaks. Yes, yeah, and definitely I want to just acknowledge that yes, there's a lot of great things happening. There's amazing things happening with us, period. I'm even my first trip to the continent. The minute I stepped off the plane, I was like, oh, I get it. I know why they, okay, the beauty, the richness, just who we are as a people. Okay, it came full circle for me. I get why they resent us so much. I get why they want to keep us apart. I get it. Why they wanted to bring us on, bring us here, and it just came full circle for me. As a realization, and so I also want to acknowledge that it is 7:56, and I know that some of you may have to go to work or get your day started. So we want to say, goodbye for now. We all, love you, support you, continue in getting curious about this work. Sorry we weren't able to get to the activity before you left, but hopefully you can watch the video and start to think up solutions for yourself. But thank you, Sarah. Yes, we're keeping our vibrations, we keep raising our vibrations with this work. And you mentioned something really important. I'm supposed to be, I've been doing a series, and you can find it on my website at KatherineMbali.com. I've been doing a series on reparations where I've interviewed different communities that have enacted HR 40 for their local municipalities, and those who, those bad actors who have done harm to those communities, and they've successfully completed. So just in Evanston, Chicago, the alderman there, she was able to push through HR 40 and was able to secure $10 million, earmarked $10 million of funds for that community, based on, I'm so sorry, based on the human rights violations for redlining, right? So keeping Black folks out of that specific community. And so that $10 million will be distributed over 10 years. And so they did a community visioning process where they were able to really zone in on what harm they wanted to focus on, and they focused on redlining. And now for the first leg of that funding, community members who are eligible, which is almost everybody, can apply for. It's a $25,000 grant that can be used for down payment on first-time home buyers, and then or if you're a homeowner, you can use it for repairs in your home, et cetera, et cetera. So that's just the first leg. And then they will come collectively again as a community to decide on how else, they want to distribute the fund. So these are the acts, these are the great things that have been happening that we need to share, that we continue to motivate and use for our own learnings and templates to use as well. I today was able to, and you'll see in this next slide, thank God for them, because they were able to provide a toolkit. And so I was able to grab information from the Evanston community in a way to inform today's session as well. So again, it's 7:59. If there's anyone that needs to go, we love you. We thank you all for being here. I'm going to read a couple things from the chat, and then we have a hand raised, and then we're going to get to the activity. Promise. All right. So we have from Facebook, Teresa Pasquette. She says, Dr. Boyce Watkins refers to Dr. Anderson's power economics all the time. I need to read it myself. And Z said she heard about the Evanston project recently as well. And from Facebook, Sienna Robinson says definitely Dr. Anderson. Oh, so they've been discussing Dr. Anderson. I'm sorry, John.
Yes, I want to give you a break here. You're going pretty fast, and I will take over reading the comments on Facebook.
Thank you.
Yes. So Facebook has been very, very active.
Awesome.
We have quite a few comments in there from Sienna Robinson, who I invited her to the Zoom space, but the link did not work. And the hand raised you see is mine. I wanted you to recognize it so you will slow down.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's see. Sienna, her first comment, this was earlier in the session. She said, this is a human rights violation. We need Black folks to take this to the world stage. And this is very similar to what Sahuspeak mentioned. And another comment from Sienna here said, so it's us that need to use self-determination to demand reparations. I hope reparations is on the platform of the next president you all vote for. And I see Sienna has brought quite a bit of approach on politics. Similar to what Zakia mentioned, we have Wendy Pierre, who said, how do we do this when some Black folks don't like themselves or other Black people? We have another comment from Sienna. Politics is the only way. Black political parties is necessary to focus on an agenda that has the Black community's demands in mind. Right after that, she said, what do we say about Dr. Claude Anderson's Powernomics plan? And you can choose which of these you would like to address when we give it back to you here. Another two more comments from Facebook. Teresa Placid said, Dr. Boyce Watkins, refers to Dr. Anderson's Powernomics all the time. I need to read it for myself. And our last comment from Sienna is a reference to that comment from Teresa. Definitely Dr. Anderson has spelled out the process many years ago. And I'm complete with the Facebook interaction.
Thank you, John Carl. Appreciate it. I needed that break. All right, so I'll address all of them by saying actually, I'll address the comments by Wendy because it sort of encapsulates all of the other comments. And so, it goes back to that same concept around the crabs in the barrel, right? And if you watch the series Them, that's on Amazon Prime, it's a really brilliant series. It's scary, so quote unquote. However, I realized during that watching the series, finishing watching the series, I realized what's scarier, like living that nightmare or like watching it for these couple hours. Like, we actually lived this, right? This was a nightmare for the people who woke up every day. So I can make a sacrifice and push through a quote unquote scary depiction of our normal lives, right? We've normalized so many things in our community. But there's one scene, I don't want to totally ruin it for those who haven't watched it, but there's one scene where it's such a relief, right? It's such a relief to find out that we're not crazy, right? Like these things happen. So the series is about discrimination, housing discrimination, and policies that were put in place to not allow Black folks to move into communities, specifically this community that they are moving into is Compton. And so, it goes back and everything is in museums, legal documents that stated, you cannot sell your home to Black families. These things that have, and this is across the country. This is communities across the country. And if you're in New York City, you can visit the Tenement Museum and you can see those documents. You can visit if you're in DC, you can visit the African American Museum. You can see those documents. They are real. And so these are ways in which the federal government played a role. Thank you from Facebook. The federal government has played a role in setting back the Black African American community. And so for us pitting each, seeing that we don't get along, again, the puppet masters, right? We have to look at who's pulling the strings who's causing the division, right? Because it happens. It happens when someone's behind the scene. The whiz is behind the scene, right? We use the whiz in some of our programming in Spirit of a Woman. And so he's behind the scenes. If you ever watch The Wiz, you know, he's telling, you know, who's going to wear blue, who's going to wear gold, who's going to do this, who's going to do that. This guy is like chilling, calling all the shots, making people do all of these things, right? And you never knew who it was. You know, everybody just followed suit. But until they pull back the curtain and find out who's back there, you know, it's just this little scrawny dude, you know, calling these shots. This is what we need to do, is constantly pull back the screen and start looking at one another, pull it back to see exactly who's and hold those accountable, who's pulling those strings. I see hands raised, but I want to just get to this activity before the 90 minutes is up. Please hold on. I'm gonna get to you. Love y'all. Love this group. This y'all are on point. So we're gonna move on because I think this is a perfect time to share this. And so, all right. So we're gonna build a quilt. We're gonna go into our visioning session, and we're going to do what Black folks do best, is pull things together from the scraps, right, that we have had. So quilting is one of those incredible processes that I so love. You see us bringing together small squares and make a huge effort that will comfort and wrap up and secure those that we love. And so I find this reparations effort similar, right? Like building a quilt. Like each of these communities are suing their municipalities, right? They're bringing HR 40 into their communities and addressing all of the bad actors on whatever human rights violations that they've experienced. And we're small efforts building this huge quilt. And so today we're going to contribute our square to this quilt. And so here's some of the things that, you know, I'm not going to read all of this. You can read through it, but just want to keep in mind, because all of us have different ideas, different perspectives on the topics. And so we want to respect everyone. We want to make sure that, you know, we're not going to go into breakout rooms as we originally planned. We're just going to stay here together. But here we're just going to make sure that we agree. I'll just read that one at least. Is that there's a lot we may not agree on. And sitting down, we choose to agree on this. I will grant you welcome, and I thank you for the welcome you grant me. I will show up, be present, and be open to creating an experience, this experience together. I will speak and listen with truth and love, agreeing and disagreeing with respect and kindness. So again, just remembering that all of us have different experiences. Like Mama Hootsuite said, some of us are angry, you know, there's so many things that we bring to this work, and all are welcome. All are welcome, and continue to walk with that. There's a poem that I love so much, it's my favorite, it's called The Guest House by Rumi. And, you know, it just welcomes all that it comes into our lives, the high vibrational and the low vibrational, because they all play a part, right? We talk about the yin and the yang that keep the world together, the negative and positive, they all play a part in our lives. And so we want to make sure we keep these things in mind. Again, I'm not reading all of these, but I will go into our questions. So, okay, so we're going to talk about some of the human rights violations, right, that have happened over the years. And I'm missing a slide, but it's okay. We'll go through that in a second. So some of them have been, you know, housing and redlining issues, local businesses and entrepreneurship that have been dismantled. We talk about Tulsa, I believe Teresa brought up Tulsa, financial health and financing through partnering with local banks. These are some of the ways that we can, you know, move reparations forward. But the wealth that has been stripped from our communities is also another violation to our community. But today we're going to talk about mental health and emotional healing. How do we bring about this change in our communities that we live in, which again, this building the quilt, each community coming together, sharing resources, sharing ideas. How do we bring this stuff together? And so the questions that we're going to ask today are, what are your hopes for your community now and in the long term surrounding this area, and the area being, again, mental health and emotional healing? What is the justification for this area? What's the justification for bringing about change in this area? How does reparations affect it? 3, how can this issue be addressed through direct and collective benefits of Black residents? And then 4, what is the role of non-Black community members in this process? And so that is a really key question as well. And I'll go into, well, I'll just say it now, that last question around non-Black community members and their part that they play in the process. One of my favorite quotes is from Mama Angela Davis that says, if they come for me in the morning, they'll come for you at night, right? And what that basically means is that all of these violations that have happened to the African American in this country, can easily be applied, right? All the policies and the traps that they've set up can easily turn to those who are non-Black, right? So for the Mama Sahusi just brought up about the vaccine, right? So there are ways in which, they've practiced on us, right? This division and the keeping out of information, et cetera. And now it can be applied to the greater community, right? So these things that we've seen, we're used to, we're like, I ain't taking the vaccine, all of that kind of stuff. But those very same tools that they've used on our communities can be applied to the greater community as well. So I'm going to stop this share. There is a question before we go into workshopping this, and I see Cassie has had her hand up for a while. So Cassie, if you could unmute yourself.
Peace and blessings. Thank you so much, sister, for sharing this topic. It's really close to my heart. One thing I wanted to share, especially as it goes into the activity, is that, nope, can't show a video.
She's beautiful, y'all. She's beautiful now too. Come on, babe. Go ahead, mama.
But yeah, it started with the children, because my son, I'm actually going to call the school board here. There's a question about, I can't think of her name, where they asked that, I can't think of the lady's name, but anyway, she had her slaves to take the artwork off the White House walls so it wouldn't be damaged during the battle that they had at the White House. And
it's
the
John
next
Adams'
question,
wife.
huh?
John Adams' first
Dolly
wife.
Madison, yes.
Listen.
So then the next question they asked was, how would you help Dolly Madison? And my son, we speak a lot about history. He said, Mommy, what do they want me to say? That I'm a slave? Because they specifically said the slaves helped take the artwork off the White House. Then the next question would be, how would you help Dolly Madison, right? So I see there's different ways that they really integrate things into the curriculum of the history for our children. And what's emphasized is slavery. And my son even stated that, there's more than just Harriet Tubman and Martin Luther King. And he started giving off these names to the teacher. Why aren't you talking about these people, right? So I just want to mention about the curriculum, because that was something specifically that touched my heart in the curriculum about Dolly Madison, about how that question was structured, where even a child can say, why are they doing this? And this has been a curriculum that has been going on since February, supposedly Black history, but it's all about civil rights, Dolly Madison, Thomas Jefferson, and we all know Thomas Jefferson had slaves. And then my son, who knows history, said, well, why are we talking about him as a great man? But he had slaves, and he had a lot of slaves. So I just wanted to bring that up. Thank you.
Ashe. Thank you for bringing that into the space, because the truth telling is the healing. And I'll just say it again, the truth telling is the healing. And so, some folks, exactly, thank you, Z, don't want to hear the truth. and rather stay in this loop of lies, which is harmful for all of us, right? I remember in college, I attended Meredith College, which is an all-white girls college, and the lies that I found in the world history class. I mean, thank God I knew what I knew. And this was, I was only there for like maybe a year, because I had some sense and got out of there. But just really just hearing them lie to all of these, young Caucasian women in the class was like, well, you setting them up because this is not you. This is really, it's a disservice for everybody in these cases. And so, just thank you for educating your son in a way where he can use his voice, use his throat chakra to speak the truth. And we have to continue to do that. My son, same thing. He pointed out with John Adams, like, why are we celebrating this dude? And he, was like the perpetuator of the Trail of Tears. Like, what's happening? And he's thin, so, we're doing our work and teaching our kids the truth, but also making the calls, right? Being on the boards of these on Board of Education, and any of the groups that are in your being actively a part of this process is absolutely imperative, because otherwise we can sit here all day and point fingers and say this, that, and the other. However, we want to make sure that we are part of the change, right? So, it's 8:17. We are running out of time. I want to make sure that we get to these questions. And so thank you all for staying. But we're gonna work now. So first question I'm going to share with the group. See if can y'all see my screen? I hope so. We good, admin?
Small.
Yay. All right, awesome. So
small. Can you make it bigger?
Too small. I thought that was gonna happen. How's that?
Yes, a little bigger.
All right, hopefully I'm always have issues with this. Oops. All the way over. All right, so the first question that we're gonna throw at you guys, and we were gonna again do this in breakout rooms, but we ran out of time. So for this first question, I'm gonna ask everyone, what are your hopes for your community now and in the long term surrounding this area? And again, we're talking about mental health. I'm talking about mental health and healing. So you guys can just raise your hand. I see Jacqueline and Kathleen have their hands raised. And if you please, we're going to answer this specific question because I'm going to put in your contribution to this question here. So let's see, let's see, Kathleen, if you can unmute.
All right, thank you so much, Coach Catherine. It's really a pleasure to see this topic. They're asking me to, no, not right now, I'm not taking off the video. So what I see as possible is that we take a look not just at cultural competency, but cultural humility, and really begin to ask ourselves as well, are we a part of the problem or are we a part of the solution? And one of the things that I see as possible is our ability to incorporate the right programming in our communities so that the social emotional healing and learning, can occur. Right. So you have all these municipalities. Hey, we got 37 million. We want to drop into your urban community, but we don't have a system in place to receive. So my hope is that we come together, right? So that we can become the service providers to some of these, monies that are being infused in our urban community, so we don't have people coming in from the outskirts, just to get the contract, and they are not, culturally aligned. And I'm complete.
Thank you, Kathleen. I'm going to add this here, and I'm going to also address that as well. And again, just really Alderman Robin out of Evanston, they did such an incredible job with this as well. So that the fund that was set up for reparations, so the 25K that goes to the homeowners or the prospective homeowners for their down payments. So basically what they've done is created a registry of sort of all Black contractors, plumbers, in all the Black people that can do these repairs in your home, electricians, etc., real estate brokers, etc. So those funds go directly to those in the community that will benefit from the work. Right. So I thought that was so dope. Like, they didn't just get a 25K and can go to, a non-Black, brokerage firm, or a non-Black, real estate agent, or, not. So it actually keeps the money within the community. So they created that registry. You can, again, go to their website, it's the City of Evanston, and look at their plan and how they were able to distribute those funds. So that is on a lot of people's minds. We want to continue to create, not to perpetuate capitalism, right, and spending money outside of our community, but we want to make sure that we come up with solutions that keep the funds and resources inside of our neighborhoods and complete there. So thank you so much for that, Kathleen. That is absolute. I probably didn't get all of what you said, but you up in here. All right, you're part of the quilt. All right, so I have next, admin, if y'all can help me with who else has a hand raised.
Jacqueline and Sienna. So I think Jacqueline can go.
Okay, good morning. So you want me to answer this question that you have here? What are your hopes for your community?
Yes.
Okay. What I hope to see is a unification of the process of this reparations movement, because I'm seeing all kinds of different reparation movements all over the country, but it doesn't seem as though you all are connected. And that's a little bit disturbing to me. It should be like a web, like the main focus being reparations, but with all these little different avenues of approaching it, and each person, or each group being aware of what other groups are doing. Not saying that we shouldn't replicate what other groups are doing, but we should at least be aware of each other and what movements are happening right now. My main thing is education. So I look at it from the family to the community, to the county, to the state, to the national government. And my thing is with us is that we need to reprogram our own communities and our own families. So you have to monitor, and this is something that we all can do. You can monitor what you allow in your diet. Your diet is not just what you eat, but what you're listening to and everything else. I have always been very active in my children's lives and listening to what they listen to, watch what they watch, and have discussions with that. And I see the fruition of that effort, because even my grandniece is teaching her children the things that I taught my children and taught my nieces and nephews. And so you have to be aware of these subliminal messages that they're sending out in cartoons. So you have to sit down there and look at that. You have to be aware of how your children are being spoken to in school. So you do need to be in the schools. You need to be aware of what's being said and what's being taught. Of course, the reparation things includes the academic reprogramming of our communities, but that unification piece is really critical, because like you were saying earlier with the crab in the barrel syndrome, if you don't have that group, if you don't have those groups coming together, then it looks like each one is moving in a separate direction, and divide and conquer is the rule of the day. So we know this, and I'm just concerned that we're still not becoming cohesive. That's my concern.
And thank you so much. And again, thank God we got this recorded, because I know I didn't capture everything, but thank you for that contribution to the quilt. And again, I will address, so I felt that same way, Jacqueline. I felt, why, are these different communities, doing their own thing? Like, what's going on? Like, why are we not working together? It's not going to work. Yeah. I did an interview with Professor Justin Hansford at Howard University. He's the law professor who started the Thurgood Marshall Center at Howard University. And you can find that interview on my website as well. And so powerful. So he's been able to, and let me stop this share. I can just share with you really quickly. Their group, their students at the Thurgood Marshall Center have been able to map all of the HR 40 movements across the country. So they are connecting, right? They're connecting the different communities who are doing the work across the country. They started, and when I interviewed him, they had only started with the Atlantic, Mid-Atlantic, Southern Atlantic sort of corridor. And now when I looked at to do the research last night, I saw that they have now expanded into the West, Southwest. And so super excited. So that work is tedious. It's very, it's not so slow moving because of technology now. So we're able to move quickly, but it is important that I do believe after interviewing him that it is important for us to do the small movements. And why I say that is because the national platform, there's just so many, there's so much pushback, right? There's so much pushback. There's so many folks who are, not in agreement with us moving this forward at the federal level. But if our small efforts, right, if our small efforts collectively start to commune with our communities and address what has happened there, I believe it will make a larger national case for the country to move in a more collective effort. So again, this is only what they've gotten to so far. Who knows? I know California has HR 40 case that was approved just right now. I know Asheville, North Carolina was just approved their HR 40 bill. So they're in the process. They haven't distributed anything or they haven't secured the funding yet, which is really important. But right now they're in this process of community visioning and research and study to prepare for, what that reparations would look like for their specific community. So, and this map on the African American Redress Network, you can see the activities that are happening. So you see all of those pins in each of these communities. You can see the chart here of what they are suing their specific municipalities on, right? Well, human rights violations. So you see slavery, historical misrepresentation, race riots, death penalties, theft of labor, lynchings, murders, mass incarceration, medical experimentation, massacres, segregation, wrongful incrimination and execution, and police brutality. So these are the human rights violations, and this is where you can go to see what efforts have been happening across the country. You can go to their specific sites and contact their organizations to lend a hand. Again, I was able to go to the City of Evanston website today to help inform today's last night to help to inform today's session. So there's work being done. The Movement for Black Lives also has a really great resource toolkit for us all to use as well if you want to do this sort of community visioning in your own neighborhoods. And so I'm going to stop here. I really wish we could have gotten to all of the slides and the questions for our quilt, but we got one square. I can come back and we can continue to build on our squares, but it is 8:30 and I'm getting the nods from my kids, so they need to eat.
Catherine, before we wrap up, we have to bring it down a bit.
Okay.
And balance it. We have more Sienna, Sienna Robinson from Facebook that you heard so much from. She has a hand raised, and at this moment, we can hear from her and hear her share. And after her, we'll like to hear from Reverend Niamo Nancy. So, family, we're going to extend this just a little bit. I'm not sure how long it's going to go yet, but I know we are feeling this. It is necessary, and let's let's close it out properly. You know,
Yes.
we opened and we have to balance slowly and close it out so everyone feels complete. Sienna, could you come off mute and share with us, please?
Sure. Good morning. Y'all made me run upstairs to go get my shirt that I made. I'm still working on design, so I'm gonna have this out for y'all in just a minute. By Juneteenth, it'll be done. I'm gonna move this up a little bit, but this says HR 40 if you can't see it, if it's backwards or whatever. But I just wanted to say, because you were talking about mental health specifically, and I'm sorry, my dog is doing something on the floor, so if you see here scratching, that's what's happening. But yeah, reparations will do what we need. All of those things that we said that we've been talking about, the education. I'm a huge follower of Dr. Joy DeBroy, which is studying post-traumatic slave syndrome. I believe that that's our key into getting reparations on the federal level, is if we push the agendas that are so near and dear to white supremacist heart, which is mental health. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't be concerned about our mental health, because we do, thus the conversation. But I believe that that's a way in. And if we have that conversation, when there was never any type of rehabilitation done for our community at all, ever. Like, I don't know, maybe the sister that is speaking today can maybe give a bit more insight if she knows more information. But as far as I know, there was no rehabilitation done for our people at all, going through some of the most traumatic scenarios for hundreds of years. We do know that our DNA is altered due to traumatic experiences. That's already been proven on several levels, people that have dealt with war, Holocaust, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, even like nature, like a storm, like a tsunami or hurricane, if it affected a community, there's something that's shown in your DNA that continues and picks up and is passed down, right? And it's this fear, this scariness, the crabs in the barrel, everything that we've been mentioning the entire time. So mental health support is what we need more than anything else in our community, something that has never been touched. And I feel like if we really push the envelope of that, I think that we'll get more just traction in what we're looking for from the powers that be. And from our community specifically, like, I think we're working as a community to try to get that stigma off of mental health care and mental health support. It seems like we're working towards that, as much as possible. But that's also fine, just like you said, with the specific community talking about finding Black plumbers and electricians and et cetera. We also have networks that are moving for, Black therapists and psychoanalysts and so on and so forth. So I think that is something that we need to focus on, like, so much more, not only because it's imperative to the development of our community and expansion of it, but also because I really feel like this is a way to, stick it to them where it hurts. You have to play the game. You have to play the game that they're playing. And when they start using particular types of jargon, throwing things around like that, then we have to jump on board too and say, okay, well, speaking of mental health, let's talk about the health support that's happened for the Black community, specifically those that have been up generations in American chattel slavery. There's work to be done on a national level. There's work to be done on the international level. This is a human rights issue, and we cannot take it lightly any longer. This should be on the mouths and the lips of every Black person in this country and abroad. This should be the only conversation that happens on Juneteenth, instead of y'all cookouts and y'all happy celebrations, because these people kept our ancestors even longer. That's what Juneteenth is about. Y'all cookouts and all y'all stuff that y'all want to do in parades, that's cute. But let's us not forget that these people kept us enslaved longer, 2 years longer, on purpose, because they wanted to finish whatever it was that they started, not caring about our humanity. So remember that on Juneteenth. Remember that HR 40 is here. We're moving forward. Watch the deliberations that's happening, because they're having conversations in government right now about HR 40 and how we can move this forward. So please pay attention. It might be boring, but take a look. There's people that are out here that are really pushing for this agenda. Conyers, thank you. Are always representing the ancestors. Amen. Okay, I'm done. Sorry.
That's right. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah, so much of what you said is like incredibly true. And all of it of what you said is incredibly true. And for Juneteenth, they kept them longer so that they could plant for another season before they released them. So that's, that's yeah.
Right.
Anyway, so
forget your celebration. It's about we need to be a little bit upset about something, y'all. Like, I get it, love everybody, but we need to have a little bit of fire up under us to say, enough is enough. Our ancestors went through too much, and it's time for us to finally redeem ourselves, make right.
And something that Coach Shawnee has said to me, that has really stayed with me. She says, your rage is a gift.
That's right.
Us being upset, us being enraged about this is a gift, right? It is a gift because once this acknowledgement happens, once this is, able to push forward, it is a gift to us. It releases us of the burden of the person who has done the wrong, right? Because we for years have taken on what they have done to us, right? Instead of giving them back that bag. So this is where, it needs to end. And thank you so much for that fire. And we're gonna close out with Reverend Nyamo. If you can unmute yourself.
I did unmute myself. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Greetings, everyone. I can't wait to listen to the first part that I wasn't able to listen to, but this is so wonderful. We've been in healing mode. We've been in self-repair mode for a very, very, very long time. And where that has gotten us, I'm a reparations activist as well. And so where it has gotten us is for me, a point of self-determination is the bottom line of it all. Because I find that what we're in the midst of in the moment, now that we've normalized the conversation and have it on people's lips, us activists, we did that. Well, now that we've done that, what I recognize is that self-determination and our peoplehood is not necessarily being addressed, and we're still doing a lot of knee-jerk and reactionary things. Talking about what somebody else is doing and then doing something to counteract or to heal what they did. So I would like to see, and whenever I'm among my reparations friends, I say to them, let's make sure that whatever monies come back have to do with our healing and our transport to our DNA analysis, our understanding of what peoples we came from, the funds that it takes to go back to those villages, the building of those villages and the bridges between those villages and sister cities here that it might be possible. So that's what I see: self-determination and building our identity and our connection in a way as Pan-African descendants that has never, we can't imagine that, but that is a veil that we must lift. And so that's my comment for now, and I can't wait to listen to the rest. Thank you so much. You're doing a great job.
Thank you. My teacher. So we are this all of that and more, right? Our healing has to be a priority. One of the things that every time I do an interview around reparations, not only the closing question, but the question that comes to me is just to ask those workers, those who are on the front lines, what their healing practice is, what their self-care practice is, because this work, it can be very traumatic. It can be, it can enrage, it can bring up all of those things that Mama Sahusky mentioned earlier, just that anger. How do we take a step back and work on our self-care, and how, as a community, how can we remind ourselves to make that priority in order for us to really push and move forward towards a resolution and a redress in this area. So Again, I thank you all so much. I wish we could have gotten to all of our work, but I'll be back to continue to build our quilt. It will be a fabulous one. And keep in mind, and like Sienna said, please, Juneteenth, make sure it is more than just having a good time, performances, etc. You can go to the Movement for Black Lives, or you can go to the my website, or you can go to, the Evanston community and pull a toolkit. Get a dinner together, get some folks in your family, your community together to talk about, how to build this quilt, how to, workshop around what the vision is, what do we want to see. We can name everything, we can name all the harms, but how do we come together and say this is the path towards our healing? And so I thank you all today for allowing me to come back, and I would love to continue this conversation. And yeah, thank y'all. Thank you so much. If we can move the slides along. All right, so we have up first is whenever it loads. Okay, so I am offering a special offer today, which is a 50% $50 discount for specifically for you all, for the WU community, on the Allende Travel Collective's next group trip to Senegal. And so my husband and I have started a collective called the Allende Travel Collective. We're taking our first journey. It's not my first time, but the first journey with our group to Dakar, Senegal. Dakar and Gambia actually will be visiting both this coming July 17th till the 30th. I know it's a short, but we'll be doing trips every year throughout the year and every year. So you can join us if you're able to join us this July. We have 2 spaces left, and so you will receive a $50 discount. And when you go to my website, and you'll enter the discount code of WU 2021 in the subject line. And yeah, next slide. All right, so my contact information, you can see my phone number here. It's also in the chat. It's also in the chat. You can grab it from there as well, screenshot it, but you can give me a call. You can hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, email me, or visit the website as stated a couple times to get more information. And next slide. All right, and for love offerings and donations, you can see the information here. If you'd like to make a contribution to the work that that we're doing, you're using our donations from today's session to help fund some of the families who will be traveling with us to Dakar in the Gambia this summer, and that we'll be doing a larger fund as well next year to fundraising initiative to help bring more families to the continent. So that is a tremendous part of our healing, is to go home and to really get a look at our power and reconnect with our ancestors. And so those funds will go to support that work. And next slide. All right, tomorrow next up, we have my brother Kadeem Alston Roman, who will be joining us to talk about spring to summer energetic cleaning. So come on in, learn, get not just spring cleaning, but spring to summer, making sure that we are focused on clearing our energies. And next slide. I think the next slide is on you, Coach Kenyoko.
Yes, I got it. And you said tomorrow, so it's not tomorrow, it's Sunday.
I'm sorry, Sunday. Thank you.
Okay, and I can take it from here.
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you. So new members, if you're in the space, please let us know that you're there. We want to give you a special shout out. Just drop your name in the chat, and John and other community members can see, and they'll be welcoming you. We will welcome you if you put your name. And we're here in Zoom 5 days a week, Like today, this is the long day, Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. You can find us from 7 to 8:30. And on Monday and Wednesdays, our short days is from 7 to 7:30. So sometimes we run over, but you know, if the information is juicy, no one really notices. And if you do need to leave, then you have the recording or the playback that's on Facebook, because we always are live streamed on Facebook. We have Wool Swag, so that information that you're getting, it comes from the source, us, Wake Up Everybody, and you can, you know, walk around with your swag and let people know. Wake Up Everybody t-shirts and sweatshirts, cups and masks, and there'll be more to come. Get it at bit.ly/Woo Swag. Just put that in your browser to see what we have. So we have registration form. If you were just given the Zoom link today to join as a new person, you want to register. You want to get yourself into the database. And you also want to know that you want to do that every week so that you can receive the emails about who's up next and how, you know, all the information that you need in reference to communicating with the Wake Up Everybody folks. So bit.ly/Wake Up Movement is what you will put into your browser and fill out the form every week. To be in Wake Up, to be in the Facebook page, you fill this out once, bit.ly/Woo Community, and you answer a few questions, and then you'll be admitted into the space where you'll be able to see the playbacks for the presentations that came before you. And you also can be in the space live to watch the presentation as it's happening. We are on Instagram and YouTube, and we also have an email for you to contact us if you're interested or have a question, info.wakeupseries@gmail.com. So you can screenshot this so that you can always have the information. And today, it's the first Thursday, and the first Thursday we did identify as a day when the volunteer interest team would be able to communicate with those who are interested in volunteering. We don't have a person dedicated to be able to do this today. So as we do in previous sessions on Thursdays, we put this form up, this slide up for you to know to contact us if you have any interest. And I'm putting out a call to you all to seriously take interest in what the possibilities are. You don't have to be home 24/7 to volunteer, but you do want to identify some time and some interest and some skill. And I'm asking you to look at what that is in your life. What time do you have? What interest do you have? What skill do you have that you can share with us? Because we do need more volunteers, more support. I mentioned before, Zoom, you see us here. It's the same few of us. We're looking to train other people to learn how to use Zoom. Zoom is it's part of everybody's life now. So if you know how to use Zoom, then for Wake Up, if you learn how to use it for Wake Up, then you could be in demand in other areas of your life. Just imagine if you had the skill to share a screen or to do a breakout room, and what value would that be for you? We also are looking for people to create the slides that you see here. So if you have any design skills or interested in learning design skills inside of Google, then you definitely email us. And onboarding, if you like talking to people, if you like meeting the facilitators, people who have information and insight, wisdom, and knowledge, then the onboarding is a really great position, a great experience. So you meet the facilitators, you ask them questions, you get them set up so that they could come to this presentation in Zoom and have a great experience. So we're not having a volunteer interest meeting today after session live like we do on first Thursdays, but I am having an onboarding tonight. So you can email info.wakeupseries@gmail.com, or you can go to the Facebook page. I made a static post. You can put your name in there. And I will invite you to the Zoom session tonight at 7:30. I'm looking forward to seeing you all. So with that said, we are complete with the slides, and we can do our love shower. I'm asking everybody to unmute yourself. And thank Catherine.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Kath.
Necessary conversation. I'm
Thank
so glad
you.
spearheaded it.
We
Thank you, thank
appreciate
Thank
you.
you, Coach
you.
Catherine. You are just
Much
the
needed.
bomb.com. This was a
Thank you so
wonderful,
much.
Great work,
This
wonderful
was such
everybody.
a
presentation.
wonderful
I'm telling you,
conversation.
so edifying. Thank you so much for
Yes.
reminding us that there's additional love, additional ways, additional resources that we have available. Thank you so much for encouraging us to work together and to connect our dots and to build our own systems in our community.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you for what you just provided today.
Thank you.
That's gonna help me
Thank you.
move
Thank you.
forward in
Thank
my
you.
own little
Hey, cousin.
space.
We
Let's
really
move forward,
appreciate what
everybody.
you have to offer.
Oh, you guys
And
are
we
Let's keep
will
building.
continue
Coach
to grow
Catherine for being the guide
and
star and for
increase
being
with
the
the knowledge that's
lighthouse.
being given
so
to
much.
us. So,
Thank you
Catherine,
so
we
much,
really
Catherine.
Have a
love and
great day,
appreciate
everyone.
you. Keep coming
Yes.
with more.
Too.
It was beautiful.
Thank you.
We have a part two, Coach Catherine. Can there please be a part two, Coach Catherine? Thank you so much.
Yes, great idea.
Thank you for your heartfelt energy, your
Thank you, daughter.
time, and your love. Thank you so much. Peace and blessings, Catherine.
Bye-bye.
I'm my daughter.